Shit hit the fan. Stuff hit the fan. Sorry. Are you still doing your ad?
Yeah, for 24 more minutes.
White is given away the reason point, which is not good. If I go phone, if I go 97, bishop is forced to go back here. Which is the square where the black queen wants to go. But I also don't want to go a5 too early because that weakens the b5 square and I don't want knight or bishop hopping in there. We'll hit it with the temple first. I will not play very optimally. I'll put the bishop back to f8 and then bring knight out. And then bring it out. That's how I'll do it. I can, if I want, go knight 8-6, bishop 8-6, queen b2, bishop take. Yeah, actually I can do knight 6, but you go here first. Yeah, now. I have a good structure. The center will be clogged for a bit. It won't be very fluid or mobile. So I don't mind. But of course, this is not very advisable. b3. The knight is going to b3. We connect with g4, which I invite happily. Now at this point, I don't mind going a5. Because there's no knight in c3 immediately to jump in b5. This knight will jump to c5. I will carve the f5 square on the next move, and this knight will be able to come back to f5. The play is very much motivated by my opponent's ratings rather than trying to be objectively very nice. And he's doing some good stuff, by the way. Do I need to go b6? b6 a5 just looks very shaky structurally. Oh shit, he's going out. Which is fine. It's just annoying because I don't want my queen to move from c7. Also, queen is good on b6. Oh, knight b5. So that's in bad idea, but he doesn't have a knight in c3. This is going to be fine now. Point is, if it goes to b5, bishop takes, knight takes, and then this will be maybe executable. Takes. Queen here pinning bishop. Yeah. Yes. It takes. Knight takes. The question will be, should I take this way? I think so. Terrible layout, terrible opening play by the way. By black. If pawn takes, the thing is, oh, this game with the check. Yeah, I was planning on king f1, king f8, sorry. For some reason, I didn't remember that it was going with the check. Nevertheless, the problem is, if I take, and if he tries to get away with an intermezzo of this, And I'll always have my own intermezzo. It comes to the check. And then I can recapture so I'm not losing piece. And on the other hand, if takes, there's not a pin anymore because the king has moved to f8. So I don't see anything for him. Most likely he will just take. And now this b6 move does look very bad. It was kind of a blindness. Alright, yeah, the reason b6 move looks bad is because now there are all these light square holes which he will be able to utilize. Nevertheless, e5 will be under pressure because of the, yeah, immediately I think e5 is lost. The b4 check is not a big deal, it's not coming like a fork or anything. He moved there to give room for his bishop to come out. Queen before check, then quite simply this, and it's not connecting with anything. Takes. There's a fork on f3, so he needs to move the queen. This one's also hit. And now I'm very sure that if he is not able to extract something dynamically, then he's just will be playing a verse basically technically lost and game. The opponent has left the game, you can claim the victory. Yeah, that's the problem when playing casual. This is the only problem. Rude people. Not very instructive game. It was played in a very provocative manner, provocating white to come forward, do something, and then banking on them going wrong, which he did with 22 here. Until here, there's still some stuff we can do. The problem is this king is very nice on f8 right now. And because of my king on f8, it's not like he's giving me a problems due to any lag in development, because development is always competitive, and he's not doing so great himself. Okay, he's came back, and he comes back to plunder his queen. That's a 1910 blitz rating. Round to rematch. Let's give him a rematch. What shall we play? Let's play d4. Left the game. What did he offer a rematch then? Well, okay. I can do New York time, right? It will put the game back in the lobby. 10 plus 5. Nobody's doing good stuff. Classical Swiss, shall I play that? Starting in 8 minutes. I'm a bit. I'm under the impression that in tournaments we face with more probability, with higher frequency, people with suspicious play, let's say. But last, the stomach is an essential part of the chess master. Not of Mikhail Tal. Okay, I'll do this. It is 6:57 minutes left. So yeah, I think now my game is done from here. It's evaporated. Triple 2. Problem with fast time controllers. I'm not used to playing with a mouse. For the time remaining there is 7 minutes. I'll join it. The thing is, in these classical sources, they don't you don't automatically abort the game. The time my clock will start running, that's it. And it's 30 plus 0, so no, that's fine, no problem. This kind of a position. We can do like a 5-3 or something. Actually, a 5-5. It's 5 minutes, 5 seconds it takes me just to. It is casual, right? Yeah. I got a spiritual power. I like c6, I like bishop f5, I like bishop f5. Oh, wait, didn't go bishop f5. Okay. This also I like everything. I should have done the g4. Hmm. I don't like it so much, man. e3. That's 3. That's a stone wall, which I don't like again so much. It's not a problem, but yeah, not optimal. G5 currently is not playable, but knight h5 is playable. I'll just take back with this. There is a stronghold together. Okay. Yeah, that was the correct way of doing it. What is this? This is 5 plus 3, okay. Um, so this diagonal will become just king h1. If it takes, then I'll take with this. Not optimal. Obviously not optimal. The squares of the queen are taken, so as of yet. Hmm. He takes, and he's going for f4 something. Or maybe he's going for a median f1. Then bishop now. Okay, tempo. Let's see what he's going for. There's also c5 to d3. No, not a problem. No, not so worried because this gets closed. Now he has defended. Yeah, this is not a problem for me. Now hit e6. Now the bishop is going to f6. Oh wait, this hanging. I'm blind today. Okay, his knight is coming back to e4, which is fine. He will put this knight in h5 so that bishop f6 is not there. Maybe he'll put it after I put the bishop f2 there. There's also queen h5. Okay, don't like my position one bit. Bishop a6 really. Okay, one thing I will do is clarify some of the questions in the position. This being one. Oh, he vacated the f5. Spare for the knight. Let's ask this question. Is going to be the basics or something? Okay, that's fine. Knight at take. Queen b6, h1, h3, h6, h3, queen h5, knight takes c6, take, knight takes. No, the knight takes and c6 and I cannot take. So it's a bit of a dilemma. I don't want to take knight yet, even though I get a passer, but that's not really much. The king third player is going to get very, very blocked. And queenside avenues can be opened up for effective counterplay for the black side. The option of h3 is very sharp one requires calculation. If you play something like h5, then I'll just takes, and then I'll take and move in with queen h4. But the problem is if I go h3, he will go queen here. And then if I take on c6, I do have 97 check also after that. Also that. And so this takes, then take. For queen b3 check, but the queen can always slide simply back. I know this is not the best move. But I'll go for it anyways. Because of the opposite color bishop middle game. I am trying, rather I am unjustifiably over-pressing for the attack. I have the choice to make. I'm probably gonna lose this game on time more than anything else. My ideas mostly based on tricks. The queen is 5 king g1. Bishop a6. Takes, queen takes. I might not mind so much doing exchange here, but then I don't want the liberty to sat back the exchange in assets just because I have given him already an exchange out, so he doesn't have to concern himself a lot with that material count. Which is not possible because then I'll just take knight. There's no rook lift possible, that is the complaint, F9. And also I would like to have this knight very nicely looking here and here. Like, so what did I design? I forgot. I forgot. Yes, yeah, yeah. I think in June. Now if it takes, then I take and check. If bishop comes to a6, okay. I think here I have to take. This is the, and then he'll have to go queen g6. And this is what I had in mind, that I'll have the open, semi-open h file. He will have the semi-open f file. Okay, so I'll be down a pawn. I'll have open pass. But the queen is exchanged, so not that high hopes for an attacking, I guess. There's still something, a little bit. He should not go do actually bishop d7, bishop e8, bishop g6. That will completely shut everything off. Yeah, oh, this also works. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to bloody go to h6. Okay, I'll decide about that later. cannot get. He's going to create counter from the king for that. There's it's stuck there. Stuff is stuck there. Yeah. Exactly. Do not like blitz. Yeah, because of this class one creation, it's immediately um, not possible to create uh, counterplay. Yeah, I felt something is here, but there was no time. He's queening in 3 moves. Can I create a mating idea in 3 moves? Is the light squares? Check. Hard to say. I have to go back. So if I go here, let's suppose he pushes. Any check should not be working. Oh, there's also this one as a something to use, but now I will give him check. I don't think I'm giving him check. The only checkmate I can give is I pull my bishop back, move my rook here, and then checkmate him on this light square. And he's queening in 2 moves. So I have to imagine that. So that's probably not the way to go. Where was the counterplay? I have to play the classical, so I will quickly look. Yeah, e6. Oh, there's no check. E6 first, yeah. And if he pushes, then e7 check. Oh, it's this queening square. This square being used for queening. And okay, here they are saying do this. Oh, because this is a blunder because then he just simply uh, blocks the queening square. So this is the way you check. and then you fork, and it doesn't matter if the king is going near it because that is the square that was definitely by the bishop. So yeah, that's the kind of counterplay I had to find um, when he had three moves to queen. What I've actually that was this is very interesting, very nice. Okay, now where was I? Yeah, we're in the game. Already down 12 minutes. Let's see. Where is this? 1478. Okay, let's play e4 against him. Hmm. What shall we play? Let's play Danish. Oh, this is a classic. Yeah. Bishop c4. The idea of the Danish is we are giving full two pawns, but at the end of it, we are going to have a lot of development. And if they do not take on b2, then we are only down one pawn. Right? He's doing good stuff, developing. Hmm. Bishop f7, knight g5, queen b3, d5. Yeah, no need for that. This push might be a bit uncomfortable for him. Let's suppose our opponent has played very nicely, very logically straightforward developing, which is the best thing to do, especially at his rating ranges. Very healthy chess, but let's suppose we don't get any attacking chances against him for that very reason. So if attack is taken out, what do we have as compensation for our pawn, positionally speaking? So first of all, we have these two files. It's very much like in the Mora. You have these two open, semi-open files for the rooks. In the Mora, they don't have a C pawn, so it's one open file, one semi-open. Here we both of those are semi-open. All right, now some questions might be asked with this. However, I don't like that I'm not fully developed yet, and also that might be a hook for him to later open files for himself. Other move is to develop the bishop around here. He will go d6 and try to come out bishop d4. If I go here and he goes here, I don't have a good discovery with the knight. I do, however, have this and then knight d5, which I'll go for without thinking. Oh, he did not go for. Okay. So after bishop f4, he will go d6, will he? Let's see. So d6, and I take bishop takes, queen takes. I'm down a pawn into this anyway, but that pawn will more likely. Well, again, like I said, I'm not playing objectively really good. The play in this game so far logically has made no sense because, yeah, that pawn will be a weak pawn, but that pawn also will be an extra pawn. So even if I win it, it's still an evenish game. I don't have a lot to claim about. The only reason I'm going to win is because of his rating. But yeah, that's what the game has been based on so far. Not very objectively sound. Should I immediately attack him, or I like actually that a nice d5 square for a knight? Let's make him put a rook on d8. We want it on c8 or we want here. He will also have this. Nice stuff hitting this. Bishop wants to go out. D6 can be hit. Actually, d5 can be used for the bishop. Because at some point he would like to go d6 so that his bishop can move without hanging this in case of this. The d5 is a square that can, in this case, which is rare, usually you would want a knight in d5, but in this case I feel like because he will need to play d6, I like the bishop on d5. I'll go knight to, some knight to e5. I can take immediately, but I don't want to. Actually, I feel like I do have a bit to claim because if that pawn is just simply lost, then white did get a bit better development. Black is still not yet connected as well. White has done that long ago. The pieces are nice in the center. Black's pieces are yet not coordinating. They might in the future. They're not like horribly out of the game, but they're not yet coordinating. White pieces, on the other hand, might start to create some ideas. Like if he didn't play this to develop the. I actually have bishop f7, king f7, knight is not here. The king goes in defense. If he goes g6, then I still win it. If he goes f6, then what? Nevertheless, I can always let's simply do this. But one thing is doing good for his rating range. Okay, that might be a mouth slip. He might be going rook c8, which doesn't make sense because the bishop was it, so maybe that's where he is going. Should have gone g6. I was about to say that what he's doing good is he understands that he needs to connect the rooks and develop complete development. And he just made me eat my words. He went there because he saw that this is attacked. He saw the bishop is attacked. He saw that b7 is attacked. He saw all of that, but he didn't see that this is also attacked. That was more important to see. Let's take with the bishop. That was the better option. Why here? Because the bishop is defending the knight. So bishop is attacking. Okay, I just got my knight. The bishop dropped. Ah, okay. So take. So I have to do f7 now back. He can take rook takes and king takes, but I think that's the best I had. Because if g4, then g6. What I was going for is knight takes the bishop and bishop takes the knight. I am not wasn't expecting my opponent to start playing best moves immediately. All right, Williamson. They were also, by the way, quite defiant for his rating. All right, yeah, knight bishop d4. The bishop with the two mana pieces against rook is not too bad for the side with the rook in the endgame, especially. In the middle game, it is more fell, and the rooks don't have a lot of it with files. So I have 10 minutes, no increments. Where can I place the match? I like it on c5, or induce b6 on this. Hold is loosened. If he wants to offer a rook exchange, that is good for me, in general principle. But he's suddenly playing good moves, so I have to actually be a little bit careful. When you're playing two rooks against a rook and a man and two minor pieces, generally it is considered that you should get rid of the rook so that you are the only person with the rook on the board then. But I'm a little bit worried about the squares that he's taking. Knight will take, yeah. Until I see a blunder, I have to be very careful. Once I see a blunder, then I'll realize that yes, it is indeed a 1478 playing. Okay. I do have my knight in c4 from where it doesn't really go anywhere. Always also looking for a tactic. If this knight stops winning this, then I'll look for a fork. The rook sack and like a knight check, taking that up. And that'll put me back into the same piece. That'll be a knight endgame then. And I'm up the pawn. So he's going e7, is he? I can also go f3. So that if he goes, tries to intermezzo with king e7, then I can take this. So let's check him out. F3 is also generally important, generally necessary, generally useful move. Because I'll be taking the knight away from here, wherever. So I'm losing control of this. Okay, that's interesting. So now he is going e7, another see, and then should I go here? Right? Let's see. Then I got a6 back. And again, the same thing if he tries for intermezzo. Okay. No, I'm giving too many squares, and I should not do that. The problem is my rook doesn't have a square to move back, so I'm forced to move the knight. Looks takes 27. That's an interesting idea. Not only tricks, these are only tricks. Tricks. You can actually also take with the bishop and then take on g4 with the knight, which I would not like very much. Difficult question. Where to exactly? F4 is also a hole, so we will probably plant there somewhere. Knight on e5 will hit f3. If knight e4, knight e4, f4, he doesn't have bishop takes because this picks up. But he has first king e7, in which case I thought I'll go all the way back, and then if he picks up, he still loses due to a pin. But what he can do is take with the bishop, so that when I take, then he can take the g4 pawn instead. Okay, I'll just move from this. I do have a check though. Do I want to give a check? Maybe I do. Maybe I do. Ask you a question. My opponent has started playing like someone I would face at my own levels. Which of course I was not expecting. So I got taken by a bit of a surprise. Hmm. Now he walks into a forkable square, but there's nothing to fork. So I'll just go h3 for now, so I can at some point go f4 if need be. Just being ready to ever go f4 if he plays something like knight, if not something. First I'll go king in here. Okay, so the bishop took away that. Interesting. Can I trap it? So I'll give him this pawn, and I'll go b3. He will go a5. That does not help. He will go what? Knight here. Hmm. So we're denying. We have resources for everything now. All of a sudden. Oh, there's no increments. Okay, I think I should stop playing tricky for tricks and start playing just normal objectively. Because I'm not sure anymore what the strength this player is now playing with. He has resources for a lot of tactics. All of a sudden. Okay, it's coming up. This is the 4 cable square where he's going to now. Let's see. They've lost. Oh, it's still not lost because you can block. Very interesting. Oh, actually, even if he blocks, knight, king e3, uh, knight e6, and he, wow, so he still says touch. Unbelievable. I should have the f4, and he will then unpin. How will he unpin? Oh, that's why he had to go there. So no problem. Everything's working for him now, isn't it? Do we check right now? No. Yeah, that's and that is just to not get in the algorithm that checks. Of course, this is not easily winning. Let's freeze this guy. The square is blocked. These two are right now taken. If he goes back, I'll keep this in results. Okay, let's see. Yeah, nothing else here. Then this is an easy access for me. Or if it doesn't, then I'll do the deep freezing. I'll just make him come back. Is that wise? It's me. Yeah, of course it would have still won if he went king f5, but still not smoothest. You can never take the pawn behind. I think the problem in the middle was that I was seeing too much and I was assuming that he is also seeing all the resources to the tactical ideas that were there. Yeah, this king walk here and this knight here is not good. After this, take b b4, I guess. King c4. And then king walks over what? Okay, takes before the check king c4 because if he goes here, then this would lose the knight. Okay, check. Hmm. The pieces are now not very well coordinated. The knight is one square diagonally away from the king, so he's not checking it anytime soon, and these are not very defensible pawns. We can defend this, but actually then this is a problem, so he'll have to waste time with the king, and, and then he's still losing all of these. And by the time it tries to go here, this will be a bit too slow. And again also, this had to be taken into account first. So like I said, yeah, rook versus two pieces. In the middle game, it is often very good for the attack, very good for the middle game play with the two mana pieces, with the two mana pieces shine. But in the end game, a lot of the times, rook is a lot of the times. I remember examples I can show is proven to be stronger than two mana pieces. All right, go back to the next game. A lot of this is just play for tricks rather than so sick of these bots. Flash, so There's the tournament. Okay, so this is annoying. I'm unable to scroll on the stream page. How do I fix that? I have no idea. Shouldn't it show me like I have a game going on? Or maybe the next round hasn't started yet. Okay, change it. Should I be able to see now? Should be able to see now. No? Bloody. What was that? Is this? This? Yeah. Alright. Next round is starting. Okay. I should fix the. God damn it, now the phone battery is dying. Okay. Hopefully this will be visible to the screen. I cannot check my phone that. Okay, 2364. Joined 3 months ago. Bullet is 20 to 40. Batista is 62. 6 seconds to play the first move. I thought that. Because we are playing with French. We'll play the Rubinstein. 556 games. Okay, let's see. What is this? I think the burn variation. This doesn't necessarily come out in the stuff. The Rubinstein is also. There are also other ways in which we reach the burn from the right side. Yeah, here I have to take with the queen, otherwise b4 forks to piece it out. Queen side castle. Interesting choice. We haven't castled yet, so I will actually just ask him if he wants to castle or not. Okay, I'll ask him what is he doing with the bishop. What is he doing about the a pawn? Then I'll connect my rocks. Like fetching knight if no, he doesn't have knight e5. He does have knight d4. He doesn't have knight e5 anymore because the bishop blocked the queen's view, so the knight e5 will take him. He does have hmm, I think I'm playing too fast. It's a critical seal. The Rubenstein structure is a very solid structure, so if you castle kingside as white and you don't play very actively against it, then it can just become a one-sided technical show, where white won't make any noticeable mistakes that can be pointed out and still be worse. However, in this manner of playing, it's different. Rook d1, I believe, should be the best move. G4, g5 is indeed a problem. With h6, I created a hook for him, which will benefit him. Now he also has a hook on c3, which I can use with b5, b4. But I think his is coming faster, which could be a problem. b5 is one of the others. b5, g4, b4, g5 takes, rook takes. Also, by the way, the king and the queen are on the forkable square, so knight c3 would be a fort. So if knight can go here and some stuff can be done, then that will indeed g4 will then take that, take this and give a check. Yeah, so one of the others I see is knight e4. b4, bishop a3. The idea being takes and then knight takes. Queen takes, knight takes, check. Except the rook, I lose 2 mana pieces for the rook, but I get these 2. Also, rook ch, rook ch. It's bishop there, bishop there, okay, bishop there. Yeah, rook c8, rook takes c3 won't work because of bishop d2. I mean rook c8, knight e4. So rook c8, g4, knight e4, g5, rook takes. Well, first of all, he can take here, but also this. Okay. B5, G4. Yeah, this game has to be calculated right now to be almost end because this is going to become sharp and there's no avoiding it. There's no option to play it safe. So this is the critical moment where black has to come up with enough counterplay to counter what's coming from white on the king side. So b5, g4, b4, g5. Doesn't look good. What if knight g4? That's wrong direction. That just looks like wrong direction. Also, un undefends the bishop on d7. So that just looks wrong direction. If I go knight e4, I don't have anything immediate. g4, and then if queen takes c3, that's just a piece giving up a piece. Because takes, knight takes, bishop takes. So that would just be giving up a knight for 2 pawns, which is not great in this position. b4 is a tempo. I don't think b3 is an option for him. Knight e4, which is b2. Actually, it very well might be. Rook ch, takes, knight 3, because the bishop is blocking the queen from lateral defense. Okay, so bishop a4. If he just moves the rook, say rook e1, or rook d2, or rook c1 actually, yeah. If he goes rook c1, that would might be the best move there, because that takes away a lot of counterplay ideas, tactical ideas of black away. And then again I have to struggle to find ideas and plans. Okay, so g4, g5 is coming. I have to find some. b5, b4 is too slow. Knight g4 does stop immediate g4, but then h3 kicks it away. And I do get to take that. And it opens up here, which by the way, 94 also opens up. Also, this bishop is here, so if the rook goes to c1, then one of the new ideas might be to take this bishop and go here, to pin the queen. Black is just a couple moves short in development. If the rocks were placed centrally, then this would be excellent for black. But certain things are not quite working yet, and I don't feel like I have the time to prepare a lot here. So what about simple bishop c6 or bishop a4 first? Bishop a4, rook c1, bishop bishop a4, rook c1, rook d8. That comes with a 10. No, not yet. But after bishop c6, that will be a 10. But I don't have time because g4, g5. I'll just play bishop a4 and let's see what he does first. So that calculating becomes easier. Because he still has to choose between rook c1 and b3 or rook d2 or whatever, or rook f1, rook e1, whatever. So I'll first see what he chooses. He even actually has simply bishop c2, which takes away a lot of my come to play. Yeah, I can actually go for the endgame then if he takes the queen. Takes and queen f5. Yes, I will have double pawns, but are they that big of a deal for? I'm not positive that he will be a technical master to punish me for that. I think that's the best option. Takes g4. Then I'll be able to place my rooks centrally, and yeah, he has a. The only disadvantage I will have is structural, which will be I'll have a harder time creating a parser here on my majority, and he will have an easier time creating parser on his majority. Let's fight on that. What else do I have, by the way? 94? Because now, actually, this might be. Um, but he's not forced to take his take here, even if I get to use after that. So now it's on g4 takes. Takes. Yeah, so I'm certain that this is structurally maybe not optimal, but it's not enough for white, especially my opponent, this opponent, to convert that. So, um, it's not enough of a disadvantage. I'll place the rook centrally and I'll have nice piece play. But the problem is that is boring. And since I'm streaming, I'd rather not play boring. So the other option is 94, and there's not a lot of calculation involved right now. But I do see one thing that I am threatening to take this, uh, which is a piece that is looking at g5, so I get additional cover on g5. So I can maybe blockade stuff there. I actually don't know. But I do have to see that the queen is looking at e7. So knight e4, bishop takes, bishop takes, bishop takes, pawn takes, rook takes, pawn takes, queen takes. Yeah. On one hand, I do not want to play bishop takes f2 and go into the endgame. On the other hand, I clearly see, I clearly see that white has great attacking chances with great attacking ideas, especially because of his hook on 8-6. So his stuff is faster. He's just getting stuff faster. So I think I'm sorry I cannot go 94, 45x. There's also queen b3, but then I can just take 94, bishop a3, and I can do stuff, but I don't see my stuff being very concrete, but his stuff I do see actually very, very concrete. So yeah, I don't think I have an option there. This immediately, this, which is not good, but okay, I'll lose 8-6 then. Yeah. So I'll be down a pawn for no reason. I can go here. He takes, I take g6, knight, yeah, yeah, no. Knight here, knight takes, bishop here, bishop, sorry, or f3 even. Rook e8, knight f5, knight g4, knight takes, rook takes, bishop e here, knight takes f3, rook e2, so stopping rook h1, hitting the knight, but the bishop can also hit the knight somewhere. Bishop can hit it from here or here, but here the rook will be made to stay because this pawn will be. Yeah, I'll just gamble. I'll just gamble. I will not play it a pawn down for no reason. Which is, by the way, the most practical thing to do. I have a very much higher chance of defending pawn down endgame as compared to a piece trapped and lost endgame. But what I'm saying is that he cannot really. Yes, fair enough. Because I wanted to go here, so I can go here anyways right now. Okay. Now it's F3. I'll just simply take it. And my point is he cannot yet, in a way that I see, attack that knight. Because if he goes the rook here, then rook takes this. If he goes the bishop, oh, but he'll go here. Yeah, I see. I see. So I should go b6, actually. Ask him the question. And at least I'll have something. I don't have anything on the task to actually. If he goes bishop takes b6, I will do this. Oh, he checks. He checks on b8. That's all started to ring. Yeah, the problem is if I go rook b8, he checks on d8. Takes. So if I take with the pawn, the problem is he's going to go to d6 and take on b6, and then he's going to frontally defend the b2. And then if I take, even if I double on on the second rank, and even take g2 and all that, it's not going to be enough. It's not going to be fast enough. I was banking on rook b8 here, but I just saw rook b8 is not a possibility. So what about knight? Oh, knight. If knight e5, he has rook e1. So I have to exchange the rook then. And then if I take his bishop, he will take my knight. So that's quite. This is when I'm a bit suspicious, when things that I calculate very deeply are somehow working very with a very fine margin. in my opponent's favor. You realize if knight e5, knight c4, because if knight e5, suppose he has to move the bishop, he goes bishop d4 or something. Then I go knight c4, so that knight can then create problem for us. And if he moves the bishop from that there, then rook b8 looks at the b2 point. I'm thinking about actually going king h7. If he takes my knight, then rook b8. And then if he saves the bishop, then I guess b2. But again, the problem is if king h7, he takes the knight, I go rook b8, he won't move the bishop, then he would challenge my rook. He will go rook d to e1. I cannot go to f2, I will go to e2 and then he'll go king to c1. That's when I'm very suspicious. Okay, what I'll do is maybe knight f2, bishop takes is forced, rook takes, and then, okay, but then he will actually go rook c1 to go rook c2 and I have no, I'm not in time to double, and rook b8 didn't work. Knight f2, let me show with the arrows. Knight f2, bishop takes, takes, rook takes, rook c1. And if rook b8, then rook c2 defends b2. And also I'm unable to avoid the trade. And if a trade happens, then I'm down 2 pawns. This is hopeless if a trade happens. Knight takes h2 also doesn't work simply because he can hit it. And again, I don't have any counterplay somehow. So when everything is working like that in my opponent's favor, I start to get a little bit suspicious. Because either you have to be a very good player, which your ratings would then reflect, or you have to be incredibly lucky, which is less. Oh, I'm not sure about that. Not really sure about that. What will I do now? So he'll go b3. Maybe he sees that he's still winning, even though this is definitely not the choice. So Chess has hit this, but he's going rook c1 then. So I should actually hit here to at least get try for some counterplay. Yeah, this was rook d8 check was the move that I'm very sure that was the best move, and I'm very also sure that he was probably seeing that that is the answer somewhere. So now I can go here, and he will have to repeat either Problem is, this will come very. If it transforms or transposes into a single weekend game, this will very quickly come. It will be resignable before blink of an eye. The only hope for black right now is generate some dynamic play to create any sort of initiative, any sort, somehow. Which of course means that objectively the position is match lost almost. Yeah. What he is doing is he's giving pawns, which he can give because they're on that side of the board. And I find that not only quite annoying, I actually find that. And also, by the way, now he's creating his counterplay, which is the correct thing to do. Even though you're up pawns in rook endgame, active rook is activity is of highest priority. Even in the rook endgame, actually, very much in the rook endgame. He's going here, and now he will attack a 7 if I move, like for example this. And then I take, he will take, and then. Well, he cannot immediately take because that will be mate. I'm guessing he will chip in our kings even at some point or something. I'll have to. I'll have to try anyways. I cannot exchange the rook right now. The thing is, if I take and win the g2 pawn, yeah, I'm winning a pawn, but I don't have a passer yet. And he already has a passer that can run very fast. Okay, so now I will have to take. He will take on f7. He cannot take on f7 with the f rook. He can take on a7. Yeah. If I do this, what does he have? Okay, so I'm doubling on the second at least. And he doesn't have this because this is checkmate. This might actually go into the draw then. Because now he's giving chances. In finding his own activity, I think he's allowing black. Yeah, that was definitely the correct thing. And now I think my problem would be that he will just simply, I won't have this check, even after doubling, and he will simply start pushing the rules. But I'll at least have him have that rook just there. He can't move that one because the back ring will always be played. Okay, 130 then I can control that. Okay, so if he says this, then okay, check, take, and I'll then place the rook. Yeah, yeah, he will eventually have to get back to that rook. I will actually now move over here and force him to use the other rook to go back. I'll force him to move the a rook to go back, so that then I can take on a2. Was Wait a minute, check. Oh, I shouldn't have checked. I should have gone straight away because now he didn't have like a blocking hook there. I'll actually try. Did go put him back. There's no increment. I wanted to try for tricks. Yeah, whatever. Actually, yeah. Oh, he'll move with the king back. I don't have checks. I might be over pushing it. Yeah, I'm over pushing it. There are no increments, so it makes no sense for me to try unnecessarily. Now the point is, if I move this rook somewhere, he can then place this one there. And I would never be able to move this rook. I mean, I can move it there then, but then he will give a check, and then he will be able to block. And he does have all these extra pawns. Yeah, activity was the only way to save the game there, but yeah, it's just right from the opening, not great. Yeah, all fine. Yeah, I was thinking about it. All fine, and bishop e7 is a mistake. e5, yeah. If your bishop is not coming out this way, then it has to come out some way. In the game, I saw that the bishop is coming out this way, so I was not too concerned about the bishop's development, but this move is not just for that. I'm guessing this move is also to take control over d4 square. Takes, and it was rushed. Queen f5 was rushed because that pawn is simply lost after that. So it was rushed. Endgames is usually yeah. Now that I have gotten rid of one piece, a little bit of the attack is slowed down. Uh, I should be able to play rook d8, but the thing is, you have to know what's what's the reply response here. Of course, the response is just takes. And if queen takes, okay, because of fork. Yeah, so I mean that kind of calculation you do an OTB classical, not petty lesser online. Okay, so takes, and of course gonna find the blunder, takes, gonna react this and the pawn's lost. And here I was just trying to figure out the most trickiest ways. Take, yeah. You allow the rook to second, which is quite good for black. Good hope for black. The reason I don't want to go here is because he will be exchanging a piece. he cannot do that right now. I now realize there's a tactic of the knight fork. If it, if I go knight e5 and he goes rook e1, I'll just take, and then this will be a fork between the bishop and the rook. And the rook cannot move in a way which defends the bishop. So he loses the piece. So you have to see that tactic to realize that he's not forcing an exchange. If he's not forcing an exchange, then of course you play that. But if you see that he's playing rook e1, then you don't even look further. You just discard it here because you need both your rooks. You need pieces. So I said b6, and let's see what you do. Because I want to make him decide whether he wants to go here to hit my knight if I take this, or he maybe wants to uh, go back somewhere, for example e5, and then he cannot go here because this will be covered by an arrow. So, and if he does choose to go here, then I'll have my knight sunk in on these either of these dots. That's probably f2. And then if he does the exchange offer, then maybe I can double get this because this is coming here to attack this. Whatever, it was lost. Yeah, rook here. Yeah, now he can force an exchange. He can force an exchange that way, and he can also force an exchange other way with a rook check. So at least I thought it was actually not good because now it does come in. The knight c5 will hit this. And if he pushes this, then at some point, if I can get my knight c3 check, knight a2 repetition, that'll be a draw. Okay, so what happened in the game? Yeah, in the game what he played, I did not like that at all. Yeah, I take the knight, and then that's giving me too much. I didn't like that at all for him because that is basically only help that black has. If you can give him the double rook dynamics that two rooks can do. Yeah, now I try to enter. You do that, I avoid. And if you repeat, the thing is, what's working in my favor is that a lot of these things you can repeat. White can repeat, and I have no options. But that's the point that White will never, in their right minds, go for the repetition being up 2 pounds. Oh yeah, okay, 6 might have been better because then I force him to move that pawn. Okay. Yeah, now I'm not so worried because there are a lot of ideas. Now the first thing is that this can never move now. If he just moves this, then he's mated. That's the thing Black was hoping for. That yes, you will have these 3 pawns. It obviously is completely winning for you. There are there's work to be done. So check here, I just take. And right now he can move the rook because I don't have this or this. So he does that. But then suddenly now I do have that. So he does this and now it's a draw. The reason it's a draw is because uh, this cannot go back now. He cannot go back to the first rank. And this is the correct move. Um, I guess the problem here is, yeah, the problem of course is that he'll just check and now he can go back and go back to go back to his life. Uh, so that's why I played this because now I'll not give you this rook going back. He will have to bring this to checkmate to get out, and then he will check with this rook. And if this rook decides to go back, then this a pawn is gone. and then I check, and then I can even pick this up. So then it feels like I will be collecting all of his queens and pawns. So that's why. Yeah, this check was not necessary. Yeah, it's lost for him, man. I immediately realized that why did I give a check? The point is his rook coming to the c file doesn't help. That is usually the defense for a back rank mate like this, so that he can block with the rook. His rook cannot come behind the pawn. Now his own pawns are a problem for him. And if he do this, then he can get checks. After this, and let's say this, this, this is not a check. It's not a check. So that's it. He's not a check, and there is no defense. There is no defense to get the rook to the first shot. And I immediately realized it the second I played that check. I'll just give a check because my point was I'm getting it away from this pawn. But in seeing the pawn, I missed that actually. Now he will be in the open. And now again the same problem that I faced later in the game that I don't have now time to move this and then move this because at the very end of it then he will be able to place his king on g1 and give a check here and be ready to block. So that won't work out. Not well. Yeah, so I decided to take the draw. This is interesting. This is very good. This is how you draw with two rooks, and that's why you can never exchange the rooks in this case in these scenarios where you're that much down. Okay, I think another game might be going on. Is it? Yeah. Okay, let's play d4 again. The bloody hell is that? It's playing the reverse orangutan kind of thing. 1964. Giant 3 years ago. Since 1875. 3,398 games. 2,277 of those games are classical. So he plays a lot of classical. 597 rapid. 221 blitz games. Has blitz. 1639 question mark. And there's no bullet. So he cannot play fast games. Why is that? Okay, regardless. So e4 or e3, it will be one of the questions. Which kind of way do I want to play? And if I choose e3, then do I want my bishop out? Or do I want my bishop in? And play it like the music of Rubinstein, music topped opening. I can also play with g3, bishop -3, bishop g2. I can also play with d5, but because it can be hit too many times, even if I defend it, that pawn will come under fire, especially because there is no c4. To Okay, I'll go with the use of both kind of setup. Use of both spot. It's also called the Rubinstein opening, and I think it's also called the Zucatovs. But I think the setup was made popular by Rubinstein more than anyone else. Zucatov also played it. He played it in a different way. The point is the knight goes to s3. And we have closed this Daska bishop here, but we'll go b2 and bishop here. And then this knight will come to d2. And then we'll play with knight and e5. It works if he goes this pawn to d5. That then it really works. The d5 e6 structure. If he puts the pawn d6, then I'm not sure. But I don't care either. We'll just play a game. So right now, first he has to defend this. He can play bishop b7 because knight g2 would hang. But I'll play knight f3 and then he will have to defend this with a6. Then this bishop goes to d3, and that bishop is on b2. They both look there, and we are looking to unleash them. This knight goes to e5 if this pawn has been pushed to d5, and the queen is ready to jump in, etc. This knight goes to d2 to f3 to reinforce the knight on e5, and the rooks depend heavily on the position where they might be most promising. Yeah, now f3, bishop a3. That was a very long time for a6. I also took time, but I'm making an actual decision. I don't think he will play d4. Yeah, he will play d4. Now I can go here. I'm not sure. Because I think c3 was better. And I would have played it like a quality then. Yeah, I could have just played like a quality. c3 I would have liked more. Because now in the Zupoto style, I will have to go over here. Now, should I take with the pawn? I think if I play it like this, then this is like a reverse French Rubinstein structure for white, which is quite good. However, he hasn't played before, so it's not exactly that interesting choice. E5 does take control of these two squares, and he doesn't have any c5 break, so that will take this pawn consistently. It will hem in the bishop, that's the problem. So a decision to be made between two. Do I want to take with the knight and then have this open? Or do I take with the pawn, which is a more positional decision to have more control of the central squares, most notably c5? Yeah, I'll take with the pawn. There's another idea also that it it provides sort of extra strength on e5 square. Even though it is not directly looking at it, it provides extra strength to e5. Not ideal though. Now I don't know where my pieces go. So I'll just go bishop b2. Mm, If he wants to go, if he wants to go d6, I'll have him go right now. Pass. People keep playing. Now I think I have to just move this back, and that is not ideal. Let's see it is coming. He'll make me push c3. Actually, can I go h3? Because the knight gets trapped, doesn't it? No, because the bishop is also looking at h3. Hmm. Okay. I'm not sure about that for him. Where's he going? F4. No, c4 is going. He wants to play knight c3 after playing rook c8, knight c3. That's probably why he go. Yeah, that's probably why he went there. But now I will hit him with c4, and his king is still chilling here. Because now I'll go back to b6 and hit my pawn again. I'll play rook c1. Do I need to play rook c1? I also have queen b3. That develops the queen. Queen b3, knight e4. Yeah, queen b3, knight e4. Knight f3. And I'm also threatening c5. Takes, takes. Yeah, I'm not sure. Well played. It can become very tactical very quickly. Oh, actually, I cannot go knight f3. I'll just take on. Can he? Take on c4? Take, take. Rook. Yeah, check. I'm not sure if you can take him. P4 if I go knight f3. But he will go knight e4. We'll see. His king is in the center. This is not very good play by very you know, this is something we tell beginners not to do. Yeah. Takes, bishop takes, c5. C5 I guess we'll just go by. Yeah. C5. Yeah, knight f3, bishop e7. And that knight is on e4 is providing further support to c5 square. C5 takes, knight takes, whatever. And then I'll rook on d1. I'm willing to give a pawn in the center. If I get rook on d1, rook on c1, his queen struggling. But I don't quite see it working quite concretely. It's fine. Right, right. I'm okay with giving a pawn, but yeah, in which case I think just rook f d1 takes, no problem. And bishop and pawn c5 is my threat. Because then I keep his bishop on b7 and the bishop on b7 is not defended. Okay. Any threats? I mean he can take, and take here. That would be a threat. It hits the rook and it hits the bishop. I have one check. The queen blocks. Rook d1, knight c4, knight d2, knight d2, knight c4. Queen b7 doesn't look very available. Queen b7, knight takes the rook on d2. I don't see anything. There's not even a check. His king in the center is continuously sticking out to me, but it doesn't seem like if you this fucking bot keep fucking bombarding my fucking chats and the phone battery is down. Yeah, so rook d1, knight d2, rook d2, knight c4, queen b7, knight d2. I don't see anything because there's also no bishop b5 check because the pawn a6 would be covering it. Bishop b5 check would actually be game over there because he doesn't have anything to block that with. But because of the pawn on a6, there's no bishop b5 check. So if rook d1, knight d2, rook d2, knight c4, queen b7, knight d2. If there was this bishop b5 check, then this 7th rank is fully covered. He has nothing to block a check with. You have to play this and get mated. But there are two problems that I need to solve to make that happen. The first one is this needs to move out then with a tempo, something, and a6 pawn is a problem there. Play very well when I stream, I think. Okay, so what's happening? Yeah, so knight takes is another option that I don't want because then plays this. And also, if knight d2, rook f1, knight, rook f to d1, knight d2, rook takes, knight c4. If I try something else, right? Rook, yeah. He can still take on b2. Then he'll take here. He will take here. And again, the problem is I have like you can even go knight c5 there to try to get this one, but I just don't have it. I do not have that. I think I'm calculating ridiculous lines now. Okay. Objectively speaking, what should be the best one? So objectively speaking, he has not cast. My pieces are fine. His pieces are fine. But I'm trying to find something because his king is in the center. So with the king, but it's not that problematic for him right now because bishop e7 castles are two moves. So I don't have all the time in the world to open the position up slowly. Also, there's nothing very forcing right now. The queen is defending the bishop, so the queen is defending the knight. X, knight c5, x. Hmm. So my candidates so far have been knight f3, which I haven't calculated at all yet. Rook f d1. Rook f d1 runs into knight takes, rook takes, and knight takes e4. Where I lose a pawn. And if I try queen takes, knight takes raw, This knight does not have good discoveries and like knight here. Even a simple, yeah, okay, rook d1, knight d2, rook d2, knight c4, queen b7, knight takes, knight b4, let's say. Now my threat is very long, which I might not be allowed to execute. My threat is bishop takes and bishop b5, check, but with my queen on b7, bishop takes and bishop b5. But even a simple bishop e7 right before bishop e5 gives him a simple king f8, and I'm giving up a pawn and a rook for it. So that doesn't look like quite happening. Let's look there. Okay, so with a heavy heart, I discard rook d1. Next is knight f3. Knight f3, the thing is that after knight f3, he's kind of stuck. He doesn't have space to jump forward to. This is then not that much available because then I take this and he doesn't have rook here because I get out with a check. So he doesn't have that. Um, so he'll play like after knight f3 he'll go forward to play like king b7 and then I'll have like this rook to b1 and second. I guess this is the move which I wanted to play like in 5 seconds. I mean, a knight in e4 is still a great knight, so it was making sense to allow that there, as opposed to taking it or, keeping the options taking it. Now, if he still, this is almost at the point where he really now needs to cast. If he still F's around, then he will get in trouble, I'm very sure. Although I've been sure for very long, I still haven't punished him or found a way to punish him. So, very weird play by my opponent. Hard to believe how many. um, I tried the the system that I tried against that because nothing is very much clear and they play 1b5. You don't know what's in this coming in the center. But now it is like the Scheveningen structure with d6 and e6. But the main point of this is the pawn on d6. If there was an pawn on d6, if he played it differently with like uh, e6 d5 structure, then there is a square on e5 which this opening would have extensively used. But because he played pawn to d6 and not d5. He has a shorter center that he does have control over the e5 square, which means that white has to find his avenues of activity someplace else. White kind of has the hanging pawns, so I can get quite active play. I suppose good. Where he plays the rooks is going to be a spoiled for choice moment. Because I also want my rook on b1, I also want my rook on c1, I also want my rook on d1, I also want my rook on e1. It's a semi-open file. So I want four rooks. Look at how they have to, so after this time. He needs to play, otherwise I'm gonna fall asleep. So if he plays bishop e7, I'm going rook b1, he castles. Am I going c5? Oh no, then I'm going bishop a3, I'm hitting the knight. So if he goes bishop e7, I go rook b1, he should not castle immediately. That knight is a problem for him on b6. And moving that hangs the bishop, so he needs to defend the bishop. Queen c7 is the move he would be wanting to play. But the more these moves he makes, the longer his king is in the center. If he goes queen c7, I might not even go rook b1. Actually, I will go to rook a b1 because he still cannot then move the knight. If I after I move my bishop a3, he still cannot move the knight because bishop still hangs. So he has to go queen c7, rook b8 to be able to go knight d7 or something. He's probably calculating knight takes a4, which should not be bad. Because I take his bishop, and the worst after that can happen is I lose a piece, which is not happening. Because rook b8, then queen c6 check picks up the knight, and other than rook b8, it doesn't really have anything. Rook c7, I come back, queen b3, and I'm up the piece. Yeah, so I do have some hints of initiative. Okay, this is good. So instead of defending the bishop, he moved the bishop, and he made kind of a threat. Kind of a threat. He's going bishop a4 is this little threat. I can go queen a3, hit the a4 pawn, or I can go pawn a4 to go a4, or I can go pawn c5. But then pawn c5 gives away the d5 square. The bishop a4 is coming, and I won't have squares for my queen. I'm not afraid of d5 on my queen is on a3 because then I'll have a very nice c5. He will have knight here, I will take his bishop, he will take here. No, because this will come with a check, so he won't be able to take there. So after that, yeah. So if rook b1, bishop a4, queen here, I'm not afraid of d5 push because I go c5. And I'm also, so he will have to first play queen d7 to push or do anything. But then, also there is no this jump, these jumps are not there. But then I might go c5. But I cannot take his knight. It doesn't kick the knight because the pawn will be pinned. So I'll have to go rook b1, then bishop c1 or so. C1 or bishop a1 and then the rest. But I think rook b1, oh no, again I don't have time. So I think rook b1 is in reach. So, yeah, yeah. Yeah, I don't see him troubling me on h3 so much. However, I do realize that's not a great place for the queen. I can actually also go b4 then, queen b4, instead of queen a3, yeah. I would actually go queen b4 instead of queen a3. Oh, the point of queen a3 was that also hits the a1. But here's the thing. After I go, for example, bishop a4, queen b4, b5, c5, bishop b5, then I'll have a4 no because the knight still takes it. But then if he plays there, then I'll have the e5 square available for me, which my knights are very nicely placed to exploit. So my choice is between queen b4 or queen b3. Queen b4 keeps attacking the knight. Yeah, actually now, if queen b4 and he goes here, and if I go here, he has to. I know I don't have time. Oh, because look is there. That's why I thought first queen a3. Not good. This is not good. So after rook takes, then I will no longer have c5 in response to d5. But then I can place my queen here and threaten that discovery of the rook, threaten the a6 pawn. It's gonna get a bit complicated. There's no influence. If you're making a 30-minute long games, then it better have influence. Otherwise, what's the point? So far. Okay, am I getting trapped? No, there's always even. But yeah, now there's a lot of tension in the position. C2 is also very much in my way. Thing is, he hasn't cancelled, but I'm not able to open the position of him from the center, especially after losing the c4 pawn. I will at times, I am at times benefiting from this in some lines. Yeah, quite messy position. A lot of action going on, and I'm too tired to calculate. So he cannot move the knight because the knight is defending the bishop. Well, the rook is also defending the rook. Yeah, this is what I expected. Now the point was, do I move my rook, or do I go like knight b4 or knight c5 or knight e5 takes, take, check, take. Yeah, after knight e5, actually the check is very dangerous. The diagonal check on this game is very dangerous after knight e5. So knight e5 takes, and well, the problem is he just has this. I still have check, take, check. Okay, I guess he'll then play here. Very messy. I love it, but the problem is I don't have any more time and I'm very tired. I love the position otherwise. There's a lot of stuff going on. So his next move is this. So I better prepare take this so that I can go and check. But the problem is, can I give this up? Like if I go just bishop a1, he'll go here. Or if I go bishop here, then he cannot immediately go there. But then I take. But if I go here, he will take, and then go here. Or can he? I don't think he's still can't. I think he still can't go there. So what he will do is he will take and move the knight somewhere, so he can be at a very good place. Of course, knight d5. But then I take on a6. It is quite right, right. Let's just play. Okay, I have 49 left, so there's no point in calculating anything anymore. Just play. I'm not even able to keep count Italian and all the pieces. Its side will remain within most of its lines. Might have to sleep after this one. Okay. I love this position, but it's a very rich position. A lot going on. Okay. Now you have to move the knight. I'll take on a6. Then my point is, I'm coming with that check. It also will be a fork here. The king is point knight to e7. The rook is not somewhere. For example, it's like the bishop is in b7, check, takes queen b7, and my knight to e5. From there, the rest, it was blocking. Might not work if you could move the knight to d5. The option of block won't be there then with the queen because the knight and e5 will be looking. If he just goes here, then he's giving me the two pieces for the row, which actually no, because takes, and then rook takes here, hitting this and hitting this. Again, that's a problem. Check doesn't do much. I mean, I can go bishop b2 there. You don't have a check now. That looks very, very delicately holding together. So now looks like a house of cards. So I think that, yeah, that is a problem with these people. I should have gone check first. I was meaning to. In my calculations, I did. King comes here and then the book. Because now the problem is you will go bishop e7 and they will block the bishop. B8 and castle as well. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I might go and knight e5. Yeah, I should. Oh, there's no time. I understand why you would make um plus 3 plus 0 um, time control for a 30-minute game. 3-0 is Obviously, it has to be a thing. There's flagging there's those kind of skills there. But this looks stupid. No damn. Now he's fine. The whole time. They will go back there and come back. It's been quite hard, but I had a match. Oh, he'll go back to yeah. That's when. I have a perpetual at least, but it's definitely a mate if I have even 10 seconds. But I won't be able to give the perpetual because of the thing. I can just keep giving the checks. Actually, it would be mate there. Not quite sure. If he goes rook f8, then it's mate. Rook g7, rook h7, rook h8. Yeah, that's the bullshit he was going to do. I knew. Piece of shit. That's a very rich game. I'll look at it after I wake up. The middle game was very rich.